does. Right now, we turn to the UFC. Ronda Rousey has been quiet since her loss to Amanda Nunes at UFC 207. But some other UFC stars, including heavyweight Ben Rothwell, had some harsh words for the star. Watch this.
What matters is now. What is going to happen to her now? 6 months from now, a year from now, if she walks away from the sport and never fights again, then she never needs to have her name ever brought up again. That will be the most I can't think of the word right now. Just something really bad, like your history. Because if she can't come back after everything she went through, being put on at such a high pedestal and making all the waves, and then she loses 2 fights and she doesn't come back from that, well, then she's a loser, and she never was a champion.
CT Ben Rothwell not holding back. Thank goodness Dave Ross is
not in studio. You know he would be upset.
Because
he would be ready to jump out of his seat.
He would be throwing those size 7 women's motorcycle boots at the camera right now.
A loser.
He would be. He ain't having that because he thinks Ronda Rousey is one of the greatest despite her last couple fights ending in L. Rothwell make a point there? You think he's maybe piling on or going overboard?
Yeah, he's certainly going overboard. That's an exaggeration right there. You do wonder about where Ronda Rousey is mentally. What's her mental state? And it would kind of be, I would say it would tarnish her legacy a little bit after she was as dominant as she was, 12-0, destroying fighters, armbar, beating fighters in the first round, then all of a sudden you lose twice and you're done. A true champion is certainly going to try to go out on their own terms. They're going to try to rectify those losses. They want to go out on a winning note. So a true champion is going to dig down deep, come back, and show everybody that they are what everybody believes they are. So if she decides not to come back and walk away, that would make you wonder about how strong she is mentally.
Well, maybe Dana White and the accountants of the UFC can convince her to come back for one more payday because Ronda is still a draw. Let's keep Ronda Rousey in our crosshairs for 120. CT UFC 207, which featured the Rousey-Nunes fight as a co-main event, did more than 1 million in pay-per-view buys, despite Rousey and Nunes doing no media during fight week and the event taking place on a Friday. Do those numbers mean that Rousey needs to come back for one more payday, do it right, and fight Holly Holm?
Does she what?
Does she need to come back for one more payday and fight Holly Holm, considering the fact that her latest pay-per-view got more than 1 million buys?
A lot of people were excited to see her come back and fight, but you saw what happened in 48 seconds. She does not need to come back and fight Holly Holm. If she were to come back, she might need to take on a lower level opponent, maybe to get her confidence up. Okay. But the one thing Ronda Rousey does not need to do is to fight the lady that handed her her first loss in Holly Holm. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that I saw from the fight against Amanda Nunes that would lead me to believe that her fight against Ronda, her fight against Holly Holm Part 2 would be competitive at all. I do not think that would be a competitive fight. Ronda Rousey has not learned how to play defense. We found out what her kryptonite was. It's a striker, somebody who can do kickboxing like Holly Holm, somebody who can strike like Amanda Nunes. So Ronda Rousey certainly needs to take some time, maybe come back in a couple of years against somebody else, but certainly not Holly Holm. And not to mention, on top of that, remember the UFC just created a new division. So Holly Holm has actually switched divisions. Yep. She's going to be in the featherweight division. They just created that. She's going to be in the first title fight there. I would imagine the UFC could work that out somewhere or some way. But right now, that fight is not as appealing as it once was.
And you wonder, because there was some intrigue surrounding what Rousey is going to be. That's why people tuned in to watch. But after seeing another loss, are they going to tune in again if Rousey's a main event or a co-main event on a card? No, I think the public's going to play the wait-and-see game. That might be why she needs a lesser opponent than a Holly Holm.